well. See, why backup is required? What is the purpose of backup and how I can take the backup? So that we are going to learn into this module. Whenever I talk about the backup, I should be very careful to understand the concept in the deep level. Of course, you all are working as a DBA, so maybe you are aware about the backup method or with your previous experience of the MySQL, maybe. But any term, if I will talk about the backup, not about the MySQL, if I will talk about the normal backup for any technology, backup will happen to secure my environment? Not at all. Backup is the technique which give us, if in case something went wrong, I lost my data, then how to survive, how to restore my data for business. That is the main purpose of backup. Backup doesn't mean your instance is not going to crash, your data is not going to lose. Backup, be it you are taking the backup in every 1 hour or every 15 minutes, still there is a chance for loss. So always, if you want zero loss concept like that, I will always recommend you to go for replication. That means you have to create a master and slab server. Of course, in this case, you need to maintain the both the server. Cost will be accordingly to both the server, that one. But suppose I don't have that standby, like the slab server, I don't have, and master we don't have. So how I can take the backup? So for that, for survival, if anything went wrong, I can able to restore. Like you are taking the backup of your mobile phone. Why you are taking the mobile phone? Maybe we all are taking the Android or iPhone, whichever the phone you are using, or Windows phone, you are taking the backup. Am I correct? What is the logic behind it? The simple logic is that in case you lost your phone, you can able to restore from the Google. So that is the purpose of the backup. Now, the backup region is complete for the system recovery. In case of the failure will happen, that case we can go and I can able to restore my system. And this is a typical DBA task which you can get day by day into backup. So here we are going to talk about the backup basic. Then we will talk about the list type of the backup. After that, we are going to talk about the list MySQL backup tool. Then we will talk about the binary and text backup. After that, we will talk about the role and the log status for the file in backup. So, and then we will perform the data recovery. So of course, in the demo, we are just going to crash from the hour in and then we can recover it. So that is the purpose of the backup recovery we are going to do. Let me talk about the backup basic concept. Most important reason to have the backup, the system recovery. In case of the failure happen, so I can able to restore my system how it was before the crash. So suppose your system got failed and it is very crucial to have backup of the system so you can restore it. As a DBA, our job is secure till my data is secure. That means the backup and recovery strategy you have to plan, you have to implement considering your business need. How you want to take the backup, how complete, how current recovery data need, it's your business RPO and RTO. So that you have to understand your business RPO and RTO, and accordingly you can able to get it. Now, the another reason for backup is that auditing. Why auditing? What is the logic behind the backup and audit? Any idea? Why audit is required for the backup, or for backup, why we talk audit? See, it depends on the compliance. Like in India, RBI is saying, the regulatory body for the banking domain, you have to keep the data for 7 years. Similar way, in the Europe, we have a GDPR policy. That means wherever we are taking the backup, it should be encrypted. Similar way, US have their own US Data Protection Act, California Breach Act. Got it? So different places has different type of thing. UK have the UK Protection Act. So different type of audit capacity you require to take the backup. Because if your database is running for the maybe your compliance or maybe your system, you need to get the license. And for that, it is saying the system which is associated to your transaction, you need to audit it time to time to analyze the data environment. Basically, like we have a primary production server, we have a standby or not, or if I'm taking the backup, so backup location is secure or not, or how frequently we are taking backup, we are gone with the DR, if not, how we are restoring the backup which we are taking. Why? Because sometimes what happen, we are in the dilemma that backup is happening. Of course, backup is happening, but when restore is required, that time you come to know that your backup is corrupted. Quite possible. To avoid that, the audit capabilities is showing that time to time you have to check your environment how the backup is happening due to compliance, due to the government, due to the certification, or as a precaution. This is a typical DBA task. So most of the time I'm not creating the database on daily basis. I should take the backup on regular basis. Now it vary with company to company, project to project. Because in my environment we have a backup team and different backup tool is used like the Tivoli or Veritas or AM backup. So there's a net backup. There's a various tools are available in the market. Now the backup team is taking the backup via that tool, but I am providing the script to them. Similar way, the backup when you need to perform in case of the failure happened by the backup team due to the any reason the backup was not completed, so they will raise the ticket to the DBA team, and as a DBA you have to investigate why that got failed, and then you can create the another backup for that. That's the one reason. Second reason, like logical backup we have discussed, similar like that, you want to create a development server based on to your production server, so you need a backup data. That could be the one reason. Or maybe like the as a precaution you are taking. So those are the some DBA tasks which we are performing onto taking the backup. Now, what type of backup MySQL support? Any database is supporting these three type of backup: hot, cold, warm. Now, what is the hot? The name itself telling hot means database up and running, and we are performing the backup. So this is the dynamic backup which will take place while my data is in the operational. So read write is happening in my database. There is no interruption for the business, and I am performing the backup. So those case we can take the hot backup. Now here little bit concept I can discuss with you what we have already discussed with the storage engine. So some engines will lock the table, some engines will lock only the rows. So always make sure there is a some interruption will happen, and the various tools for the backup is available. Based on that, you can able to take the hot backup. Now we have another backup which is called cold backup. Cold backup, the name itself telling cold means the database is not running. The backup will take place while data is not accessible for the application or user. So in this case, nobody can read my data. Since they are not able to read, they can't modify the data. That means this is the offline backup. You can say in another word, the cold backup is also called a offline backup, like hot backup is called online backup. So during the cold backup, it will prevent you to perform the any operation into your database. System is down and then you are taking the backup. So this type backup do not interfere with the performance of your system. But will it possible to run this backup during the business hour? Not at all. Generally, the nowadays everyone is want your application 24/7. So in this case, this cold backup is not good option. The another backup, we have a warm backup. So it's a mix up of the hot and cold, is called warm backup. That means the backup will take place while data is for read purpose available, but not for the write case. Got it? So those case you can use the warm backup. So it's a middle of the road of the backup. But only advantage here my database is not down. So the read operation can be performed and we can take the backup. Got it? So this is the three type of backup we have in MySQL. Not only in the MySQL, any database, anywhere you can go. These are the backup method people are using. Be it Oracle, be it SQL Server, be it Postgres, be it MariaDB, whichever database you will talk, or even if the operating system also the concept is the same for backup. Now let me talk where the backup you can take. So backup you can take onto the disk. So disk means you can back up the data directly to the your hard disk or maybe the your tape drive. Got it? And for that, or maybe the your disk level mirroring you can able to do. So this is the like you can take the backup. Or maybe as I told few minutes back, the net backup, Veritas backup, Verizon backup. So different type of backup tool or M tool. So those are the backup, which is the external application. And from there you can able to take it like the DRBD. But this technique will provide you live backup should be happen to your database. Okay. The another backup we have, which is called binary log. So suppose you have a primary server and then you have a standby server. So whatever log is generating, that will be performed and accordingly it will be taken the backup. So that's another way to perform the backup. Okay. So we can able to perform the binary log backup. So binary log, you all aware, the binary log will record whatever changes happen into my data. So all the modification will be recorded and it will from primary to the my slab server, that means master to the slab server, we can take that backup. So my primary is operational and I can take the backup from the my standby. So what is the advantage of backup? The binary log that they contain the record of all the changes which has happened into my environment, but instead of taking the snapshot of my data. And the good part is that we can take multiple binary log backup in the sequential order. We can decide the number of binary log backup to take between the backup based on how much data is modified. So once the full backup is completed, I will prefer to take the binary log backup if I have a that method, the master or slab server, or maybe I am generating the binary log. Got it? For not disable and other thing, those things. But here there is some disadvantages as well. The disadvantage of binary log is that you must have to restore all sequential binary log because for suppose there is a one update is happened, the one log has generated, second log is there. Now second log I cannot apply until unless my first log has not successfully applied. So that way binary log sequential ways you need. So that's a disadvantage. Suppose there is some corruption, that data will be lost. In case of the system failure, got it? So depend on the your binary log, that data will be not copied. That case also it will be a problematic. And the another backup method which we talked, if you remember, the few minutes back you have taken the backup of logical and textual backup. So that is the another backup method, which is the logical backup, like export and import. So you can do the complete data dump using the MySQL dump, and the new backup tool which is introduced into the MySQL, which is 8th version MySQL data pump. So data pump is the parallel. You can take the advantage of the data pump where you can able to stop during the backup. You can able to attach, detach the object while the backup is going on. So it's similar like the Oracle data pump, that the technique you can able to use and you can able to get the backup accordingly. So that is another method you can able to take the backup. So based on your business, you can choose what backup method you want and then you can do it accordingly. Now backup with the MySQL. So it could be the logical, like a few minutes back, you have taken the textual representation of backup and that one plus MySQL dump. So that way you can able to take it. So logical backup is the result as a text file. So it contains basically your SQL statement. Got it? So which we are going to perform in the MySQL dump case. Physical backup, which is a binary copy of your MySQL database file. Suppose my database is running and I know where in which disk location, and then I'm just copying the binary or the data file from the server on the OS file. Like I have shut down to my database, and then the mount point where my database is running, where the data directory is kept, where my disk table space is kept, those we are taking the backup, all the data file we are taking the backup. So that is the physical backup. The another backup type we have, which is called snapshot based backup. So snapshot based backup means like it's an image what is happening to my database. That we will talk each into details. The another we have replication based backup. So as I told, master and slave. That means I have a one server which is primary, and then we have a multiple standby server which is called slave. So that way you can able to take the replication based backup. And like the incremental backup you can do with the binary log. So these are the different backup method available in the MySQL. Based on your business need, you can choose which backup method you want to use for that. Question to all of you: which backup type take place while the data is being read and modified with little to no interruption to your ability to interface or manipulate data? So according to you, what could
Warm,
be the answer?
warm backup.
Warm backup or hot backup? What about you, Shubham?
Warm backup, sir.
How warm backup? Because here the modification is also allowed. Warm backup, what I told you, it's only the read. Writing is not allowed. Got it? But what is my question? Which backup type take place while the data is being read and modified with the little to no interruption to your ability to interface or manipulate data? So it should be hot backup, na? Well, database is operational, read and write. In that case, we can take the hot backup. Clear?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, logical backup. So how the logical backup? Logical backup is basically a textual backup. That means with the tool called MySQL dump or pump, you can able to perform this backup. So logical backup basically we can use the MySQL dump or pump, and based on that tool, we can able to take the backup. So this is like a text file backup which contain your SQL statement. And the good part is that with the logical backup, it's very easily you can able to port from the one server to another server, and then you can run it. Since it is a SQL statement, it contains all the information which is needed to rebuild your object and the data. Got it? So database and tables, that way you can use. So you can use the text file to reload the database to the another host or running the different architecture that you can able to do it. But you should always keep that there's a drawback with that. Its database must be in operational. That means up and running. In the logical backup, you can able to do it. So require that MySQL server be running during the backup, because if server is not running, they won't able to generate the SQL syntax from the my object from the my table. So that's why it's a standard practice. You have to take it the database up and running while performing the logical backup. So MySQL server must be running when you create a logical backup, because the server create the file. How they will create? First, it will read the structure and their data, and based on that, they will create a syntax for that. So table being backup, and then they will convert the structured data into the SQL statement. So that's why it should be up and running. The another thing you can see, can backup both local and remote MySQL server. Yes, in the MySQL, if you remember, when we talk about the export import, that time it only happen on the server level. Even if you are executing from the client side, automatically it will create a copy into your temp directory on server level, and then it will start the exporting. But here you can able to perform onto the local machine as well as the remote MySQL server. You can perform the raw or maybe the SQL or maybe the zip file, maybe the tar file, maybe the compressed file. So during the practice, during the demo, I will show you those all the tactics, how you can able to perform these backup. And sometimes your logical backup is slow. Why? Because if you are not using the pump or something, of course, MySQL pump has introduced that will take the logical backup in the fast manner. Otherwise, it's generally people will say it's so slow. Definitely, it could be slow because it take the backup, then they will generate the SQL statement, and then it will happen. But you will not realize because your database is not big in the demo. So here, within a nanosecond, you can able to perform. But one thing you can notice, sometimes the backup size could be more than your database size. That happen in the logical backup. So that's why I mentioned the size of the logical backup file may exceed the size of the database being backup. So that will happen. Because whenever you are creating the statement, it should take your exact SQL statement. And since the multiple rows you have, it is taking the only few KBs of data, but still for syntax will take the longer size. So that's why. Now let me talk about the physical backup. What is the physical backup and why we need a physical backup? See, physical backup means we are just taking the exact copy of my disk. So it is also called the raw backup. So basically, binary copy of the MySQL database files will be stored. So those copy will preserve my database in exactly the same format which MySQL will use. So that is the way it will take the exact copy of my original. But drawback with the physical backup, always your database need to be shut down. So physical backup, make an exact copy of the database file, whatever you have, and you can take the backup like the compress, star, zip, even if sync, the OS level, the storage level you can do, but must be restored in the same database engine. Suppose I have taken the backup from the my ISM, I cannot store into the InnoDB because it's a physical backup. Okay, so it needs the same structure, but it is faster than the logical backup which we have discussed. Because logical backup, they are creating the syntax and other thing. So here they are not creating the syntax, they are just using it. But whenever you are recovering the MySQL backup from the InnoDB table, it cannot be restored into the MySM or the archive or other engine. So that one. But drawback here, your server need to be shut down. When the binary backup method you are calling, you must make sure the server does not modify the file during the backup. And how you can achieve it? There's a variety of the way which can be performed. Like you can shut down the MySQL server and then take the backup, or you can go for your database start only into the restricted mode and then you can take it. So that way you can minimize the effect of the MySQL application and then you can able to take it. So either you can take the snapshot or maybe you can take the copy. So those all can be possible. So this database must not change during the backup. So the method to achieve it depends on the storage engine, because InnoDB, what happened? You need a shutdown. And MySM case, you don't need a shutdown. It is not mandatory because the table is already locked. So it will allow the read, but no changes allowed. So that way you can take. Snapshot or replication can be the options you can take it. The another backup type which we have, which is called snapshot based backup. So snapshot backup means you can create in the point in time copy of the data and then you can able to use it. So it is an external snapshot capability you have. Snapshot based backup use snapshot, which is capability to use as the external for MySQL. Like suppose my database is running and binary log is exist onto the some storage which is on LVM 2, just example. So accordingly, I can create a snapshot backup based onto my entire storage LVM2. Got it. So that is like a snapshot you can do, or you can perform the hot backup for DB table or that one. Snapshot backup is like a point in time copy. That means at what time you have taken the backup, only till that time you can restore. Suppose I have taken a backup at 4 o'clock, so I cannot able to restore right now. So that is the way. Snapshot backup are scalable because the time need to perform the snapshot does not increase the size of the database group. In fact, the backup window is almost zero because here we are taking the disk. So snapshot backup almost always include a row backup. It's not impacting to your data. So that way you can able to do the backup. The another backup type you have, which is called replication based backup. So replication based backup is like a, suppose you have a master server and then you have a slave server. I don't want to disturb due to my production machine, which is the master data. And then on the slave server, I'm performing the backup. So MySQL will support the asynchronous replication as well as synchronous replication in the modern databases, new version. So on the server, which act into the master, and the other server will work as a slave. So you can use replication to perform the backup using the my slave server, or which is called the replica server. So from there instead of the master. What advantage you will get from this? Like my database operation will not going to be impacted for the performance during the backup. Got it? So the backup for the slave, either the logical or row you can do, but this will come with the cost. So that is a higher cost because you have to maintain the another server, the storage. Got it? If you are using enterprise edition, so then replica for that, and those all will be available. But since they have the benefit, of course they have the demerit also. So it is an expensive solution, as I told, because you need to purchase the additional hardware, your network, your bandwidth, plus suppose you are using the enterprise edition, then license for that. Got it? And then you have to time look into that. Is there any gap between the primary and slab? Those, if there is there, that one. So those all you can keep into mind, and then you can take it. If there is any latency or something, so the old data you can get it only. So those way you can able to perform the backup and you can get it. Now, question for all of you. Which backup type convert database and the table to a SQL statement?
Logical.
Logical backup.
Yeah, correct. So the logical backup will generate the SQL statement. Now, the binary logging or incremental backup. Always make sure whenever you are taking the binary log backup, that means your database must be running into the binary format. That means archiving should be on. So to control the binary logging, you have to use the SQL log bin should be on, and then it should be copied onto the my standby server. So that way you can able to do the binary backup. How to do it? Just you have to set your SQL log bin. One means on and 0 means off. So accordingly you can able to on off or 0 1 whatever you want. Okay. The flush binary log when taking the logical. So flushing will do what? It will synchronize the my log and then it will take it. So it will allow all rows of the all tables. And then you can pick up.
ఏంటి చదివాను కాదు
అయిపోయిందా?
Yeah, can you mute yourself?
ఏంటి ఏంటి ఏంటిసేపు
Thank you. Okay, so plus binary log when you are taking the logical or row backup. So always make sure whenever you are taking the logical backup, your data should be take the advantage of the syncing. and you have to flush it, the data. The backup and restore is like a whatever the log you have accordingly. But one thing you have to keep into mind, whenever you are performing this type of enabling the your all flushing and the log binary, you need a super privilege. You must have the super privilege to change the variable. Got it? If you don't have the permission, it will tell you the access denied. You don't have the super privilege for that. Now we understood the concept of the backup, how the backup is working, what are the tools we have for the backup, and similarly, the MySQL will have the enterprise backup. That is another tool they are offering you. So the backup tool for MySQL is called MySQL Enterprise Backup. The another is called MySQL Dump. So enterprise backup tool will always show you the backup which you can able to use. So the MySQL Enterprise Backup product perform the hot backup operation for MySQL database, and it's a reliable backup because it's work with all the engines, and you can able to perform the any things onto this. Of course, I will give you the idea for the other tools also, but little bit we have to understand. It will just we can take the backup through the SQL statement by the logical backup or through the operating system like a physical backup which we talk, binary backup you can take, or you can use a dump or pump, or you can use the enterprise backup. So these are the different tool through that you can do. Apart from that, like the other backup tools which is supporting that you can able to take. Now let me talk a little bit about the enterprise backup. Why to invest into the enterprise backup? MySQL Enterprise Backup product perform the hot backup operation for MySQL database. That's why I always suggest to go for that enterprise backup. Of course, for that you need a cost involvement, and then you can able to do for performing the backup. Now, the hot backup will be performed while the database is running, and of course, for the InnoDB, the type of backup does not block the normal database operation, and it capable to even change the occur while the backup is happening. So in simple, MySQL backup is the command line tool for the MySQL Enterprise Backup product, which you can able to perform the backup. For InnoDB table, the tool will perform the hot backup operation. That's the beauty of the MySQL Enterprise Backup, which is not possible with the other tool to take the InnoDB storage engine hot backup. One backup, so no InnoDB storage engine like the other engines like MySM and other, you can take the one backup for this. Incremental backup, yes, it will support it. Single file backup, yes, it support it. So with the MySQL Enterprise Backup, you can able to one backup for the non-InnoDB storage engine like MySQL Enterprise Backup will perform the one backup while the database table is read purpose, it is on, but write is not allowed. So those you can perform the single file backup. So because the single file backup can be streamed or piped to the another process like the tape, or maybe you are taking the backup onto just copying the file from the one location to another by the cp command. So those case it will be very useful to one file. But again, there is a drawback also. What is the drawback is that your data file should be the larger size. So if there is a like 90% copy and then crash, or due to the network something went wrong, entire data will be restart the copying that one. Now MySQL Enterprise Backup, the tool is called MySQL Backup, and you can able to it will take the backup up to all the data file as well as the other file like the your index, your like a logs, and here you can see for InnoDB data, they will take the all the data file, which is share table access file, plus file per table. That means each table by default, if you remember InnoDB file per table, there is a one variable which is on. So each table they will create a one separate file that they will take. That means each table backup they will take, plus they will take the log file. For other data directory, they will use like the OPT, which is the configuration. That one they will take. All the trigger they will take. MySQL data file and index they will take. Plus all the data dictionary file, FRM file they will take. So these all, in short, you can say MySQL backup will back up all the file which we have in the data directory or maybe into the my table space, maybe into my data location, and that way we can able to do it. But performing this backup, just I'm comparing what happened. If you are using with the MySQL backup, MySQL dump, got it. So MySQL backup, you are taking the MySQL dump, and suppose your database is 73 GB. Just example I have taken with the one core machine. Got it. So it will take you the backup approximately 4 hours and 17 minutes, approx with the one core, with the 8 GB of RAM. The same workload I can take in the MySQL Enterprise backup with the 5 minutes and 25 seconds only. So that's the beauty of the very fast. Another thing, for the restoration case, it will be the worst. MySQL dump will take for the same database restore approximately 18 hour or 19 hour, 18 hour 45 minutes. That is lump sum 19 hour. But enterprise backup will do this task in the 14 minutes. So that's the beauty of the MySQL enterprise backup. Good tool to take it. MySQL enterprise backup is the backup utility, which is the multi-program high performance tool which you can able to use. The hot backup, that means online backup or incremental or differential backup, whatever you want, you can able to do it. Comparing to the MySQL dump, it is a better tool. But again, since it is a better, it is coming from the Oracle, that means there is a cost. So MySQL enterprise backup is valuable tool for maintaining and safeguard for your MySQL data, but it will come with the cost. Got it? So you can able to take the online non-locking backup and recovery, direct cloud level storage backup you can do with the Oracle storage or maybe the Amazon S3, even if the Microsoft Azure. So like the cloud also you can take the backup. Incremental backup, point in time recovery, tape level backup, compression you can do, encryption you can do. So those all can be possible. And then the good part is that the restoration can be done onto the different operating system like cross-platform Windows to Linux, Linux to Windows. So those are purpose it will support. Like I have installed the MySQL Enterprise onto the my Windows machine and the my database running onto the my Linux machine. I can able to take the backup from this tool. Only you need to install the agent and other thing, and then it will work. Now, how to perform it? That's the question. Simple. After installation of this tool, you can go to the MySQL backup. It is easy to use tool for the backup and restore operation. MySQL backup, similar like the username, password, and where you are taking that backup. So that directory, and after the backup, you are applying the log so that you can able to perform. So this is the simple way. First, you can use the MySQL backup to take the online backup for InnoDB table, and then you can. So MySQL backup will open the connection to MySQL server, and then it will take the backup into that. So in simple term, MySQL backup will open the connection from the client to the server, or maybe the same machine where the database is running, you can install. Both will work. And then you can able to perform the backup. So it will take the online backup to the InnoDB table. But for others, it will use as a warm. So MySQL backup will run almost and then complete the SQL statement. Accordingly, the log will be done. So these all can be done. So MySQL backup will run, complete, unlock the table after the backup is performed. So those all. So that way you can see the backup and apply log. It will include the initial phase of the backup and the second phase. While the bring the InnoDB table in the backup up to date, it will include the changes what I had done during the backup. So for that purpose, after the backup, they will apply the log as well. Now restoring the backup, which you have taken from the MySQL backup. So that means enterprise edition. Simple way you can able to use restore operation. Just copy your backup into the directory where you are going to restore. So including the InnoDB or MySum or the FRM file, whatever you have, that one. So you can, and then you can able to perform the backup, restore. So MySQL backup from the restoring from the backup directory and then copy back. So the copy back will tell MySQL backup to perform the restore operation. So copy back is the command actually which is the restoring, but you must have to shut down the database server before using the MySQL backup with the copy back option. Why? So during the restoration time, database is not accessible, but during the backup, it is accessible. So like why you need a copy back? Because the data file, log, they are going to overwrite. Got it? So if it is running, then read file you cannot able to delete it and overwrite it. So that's why it's not allowed. During the copy back process, MySQL backup cannot query the database. It's into the configuration. They are not allowing it. Now, another thing you can see the MySQL backup, single file backup. So like here, I'm taking the MySQL backup, same, and then I'm putting the backup image like a file. Got it? So I can able to do it. Similar way, I can use from the this. So I can output, I can convert the existing backup directly to the single file. Like suppose backup we have taken, and that is a multiple file. I want to convert it to the as a image like a single file. It can be possible. So MySQL backup will provide you those capability with the enterprise edition. Restoration for MySQL backup, simple way, MySQL backup, user password and then backup directly, and then what image you are going to restore. So here there is a no different command like MySQL dump and restore time different way, that is not required. The same way we can able to take the backup or restore. So that's the standard way which MySQL will perform for the backup. So like here you can see we have used the backup and then we can able to get. So SRC entry, what it mean? So SRC entry means it will identify the file or directory and they will to extract from the single file backup. And the another you can see which is I am showing here, which is called DST entry. So DST entry is used for single file backup to extract a single file or from the directory where the user will specify the path. So that way you can able to take the single or that part. Now, whenever you are performing the MySQL enterprise backup, you need a lots of privilege onto your database. So the MySQL backup client connect to the server with the username and password option, and whatever the permission you have given, accordingly it will do. So first of all, you need to give them the privilege to create a temporary table, because during the backup they are going to create. Either you can use the existing root account or you can create a new account for the backup, and then you can give the sufficient privilege. Okay. So what are the privilege they require? They need a reload privilege. That means the database, whatever the permission is changing, that can be override, reload, again read it. So those purpose reload is required. Then you have to create a temporary table. That privilege you have to give to the user. Then whatever the create, insert, drop, update, those all you can able to perform. On which tables? On these table, MySQL IB backup bin log. So from there they will check the backup logs. From here they will look into the backup progress. Here they will look into the backup history. So MySQL database, you can see these are the tables are available for reading and writing the things they need it. If you are using the replication, so on the replication client that you have to give the privilege. Also, you have to give them the super privilege. So it's optimal locking and minimize you can able to do. So that way you can get it. Question to all of you.
So all of the above.
Yeah, correct. So all of the above it will take.
Yes, Rajiv, all of the above.
Another which we have, which is called another tool for the backup, which is called MySQL hot copy. So this tools is basically backup the your MySM and archive table. This is not used for the your InnoDB case. So MySQL hot copy will connect to the your local MySQL server and it copy the table file from there. So in this case, your database must be running. That's the one thing. But MySQL hot copy, as I told, it only take the backup up to these storage engine, MySM and archive. And that's why I have not seen this is used into much into industry, because people are using the InnoDB or maybe the archive or maybe the MySM, maybe the CSV engines, maybe the memory engines, different engines they are using for different purposes. So that's why this is not used. But suppose you have some table onto the MySM that you want to take the backup, you can able to take the backup from this. So it can be done the backup onto the database level, on table level, those all can be possible. So MySQL hot copy, there is one thing you have to require, the server must be running during the backup, that and then they are performing the backup. The another backup type we have InnoDB backup. So InnoDB is the another tool. They will take the backup of the InnoDB. So this is called the raw backup operation. Got it? But this is especially for the InnoDB they have made. So backup procedure, it will execute the flush table and they are doing the export internally. They will make the copy of each component like FRM file for each InnoDB table, the configuration file for each system table space, the configuration file. So that way they are taking the backup. So it's like a raw backup operation, which will be the complete for the InnoDB backup you can use. So this is usual case of the InnoDB table. So if you are working with the mixed environment, then not that this is also good option, not the MySQL hot copy is the good option. In this case, either you can go for the MySQL dump or you can use the enterprise backup. For MySM and archive backup, how you can perform? Just flush the table in the read log and then you can get it. So system level you can copy it. So this is the another technique where you can take the backup. So it is called the raw backup. So basically here what you are doing, the first you are the MySM archive table, they are going to convert into the read only. So first table users with read log. Now the table is read log. After that, you are just copy the OS command. So file system copy from the OS command, you are just copying. Once you have copied it, you can start it. So it log the table, new binary log file will be generated, and then the flush log means before unlocking the table, whatever changes is happened during that, that will be written to the your master status. So that's why the flush log is required, and then you can unlock the table. The another backup type, which is the storage level people are performing, like snapshot backup. So LVM, like your lungs, which is running, there you can perform, especially in the case of the Linux type of operating system. So LVM is supported in the Linux environment. So you can create a logical volume which contain the MySQL data dictionary, and you can create a snapshot of that volume. So that is called the snapshot based. So just a LV create and then you can able to do it from there. The backup will be happening. Raw binary. So this is the portable backup where you are taking the logically. So raw binary portable means binary portable is used while taking the binary backup made onto your one machine and to use onto the second machine which have a different architecture. So suppose, just example, I have a binary backup from the my one of the server, but and I am going to copy onto the another server which is not the same. It could be. So since it is a log row level, so then it will take. For InnoDB, what it will do? All table space and log file database can be copied directly, and the database directory name must be same on the source and destination system. Where in the MySM and archive case, all file for individual table can be copied. So simple term, InnoDB with the binary portability, you can copy table space file directly from the MySQL server from one machine and you can put into the another server. It will work fine, no issue to that. But MySQL archive case, find it portable means the file can be directly copy of MySQL archive table from one server and another on different machine. Second server, you can access that table. So that way it will done. But my favorite, the MySQL dump or pump, because this is the really good tool which most of the people are using in the industry. So since I open source, I don't want to the enterprise level license. I can't use the enterprise. In this case, I can go for the this thing. The storage location. So it's just it create your object syntax, the insert statement for that object, what data we have, and that way it will. So it's like you can say the flat file system, you can able to do it. So all database or a specific database, you can take the backup as per your choice. If you want to table level backup, that can be possible. It's your choice. If you want to perform all database backup, that is possible. If you want to specify the specific database, like only one database or two database, you can do it accordingly. If you want to the particular table, you can do it as per your choice. You can allow the backup local or remote level server, both the places it will work, and it won't have the any issue with the any storage engine. So it is independent of the storage engine. They are not depend on the storage engine. Okay, in the MySQL I will work like this way or DB like this way. No, simply what they are doing, they are creating the table. Within a table, they are creating the insert command for your object, a row, and then it will be done. And it is just a portable, so you can copy paste and wherever you want. It's a very good if you have a small export, but not a full backup solution, because it is a time taking things will be there. Then consistency with the MySQL dump, that is not there, because consistency during the backup when you have taken that time, what was the data that is there, not the after the backup what happened. So consistency is not there. So master data option you can able to put. So what it will do, they will log the table during the backup if you want, and record the bin log position in the backup file. So that way you can able to achieve the consistency if you want. Got it. Master data and the single transaction. This means table are not locked. Only the InnoDB table consistency is given the guarantee. But MySQL archive by default during that it will be locked. Lock all table. So it will satisfy the consistency for locking the table. That means their data is only read operational, no write. So since it is a no write, that means it's consistent. The alternate way, after the backup, you can flush the log. Log backup you can also take. That's a way you can give the consistency. So these are the different options we have for performing the consistency into MySQL dump, and you can take it accordingly as per your business need. What you can do with the MySQL dump? So with the MySQL dump, you can able to perform the various options. Like if you want to drop the database, that you can able to do it during the runtime. You can able to drop the database. You can add or drop the table during the backup. Even if you can create a multiple option, like I want the backup of my dump, but I don't want a database creation syntax. Since it is creating the database syntax, creating the table creation syntax, and then insert statement. So or copy statement depend on your parameter how you are performing. So always keep into mind, and then accordingly you can able to do. So that way you can able to get you can take. So drop option you can do. Create option means no create DB, no create info, no data, no table space. Those you can do. Programming concept like the routine and trigger, those all can be performed, which you can able to use it. So that is the way it is working. You can able to use. Restoring MySQL dump, simple like you are calling the MySQL front and then you are executing your script. Multiple time you all have done while I was loading the Word database or the Sakila database or HR database imply. Those all the time I have used the same technique. So MySQL dump, username, password, your database name where you want to store or your table, and then you can give the path for your backup and you can restore. What is the privilege you required? Definitely you must have the select privilege because you are taking the backup. So that is possible. Show view, trigger, lock table. So these are the couple of privilege you required. And to reload, whenever you are going to like import data, that means restore, that case you can need a create or alter because you are changing the object, changing the structure. So that's why these are the privilege you required while you are performing the MySQL dump backup. So you must have the reload privilege. You have to flush logs, master data options. So those all can be possible that you will require to perform the action. So that is the way you can able to perform the MySQL backup, and you can perform according to your business need. Question for all of you.
True.
True. Because few minutes back I told, because it is a slow little bit, so that's why it's not always a good practice you can able to do. But yes, it is option you can able to use it. And 98% people, I can say, they are using the MySQL dump only for the backup. Backup log and status file. So why instead of MySQL dump, now the people are using the MySQL pump, which is the more capacity, more features we have. During the demo, I will show you how the MySQL pump will be better for your business. But yes, for that, you need a MySQL version 8 onwards. Backup log and status file. Simple way, the binary log file, you have to take the backup. What is the other file you can take the backup? Your configuration file. So in the window case, my.ini, in Linux case, my.cni, cnf, that you have to take the backup. You have to take the backup of your all the replication file. Suppose like the master info or your log file. So replication slab server will be created with the master info file, which contain information needed for connecting to the master server, as well as relay log file, which will indicate the current progress of your processing the relay log, those, plus the replication server, the slab data file they have to use, because slab data file will create data file into processing the load data in file statement. So that you required it, and then you can able to get it. So apart from that, the binding and libraries, if you have any static files or dynamic file, so those you can also take the backup. Replication as an add to backup. So always make sure the master can continue to run during the backup, and then with the slab you can take the backup. So if you have the MySQL like a master and slab case, so the MySQL server act the master as a in a replication setup, you can use a slab server to make the backup instead of taking the master backup, because master will be operational and then your business will run. So using the slab server, you can perform the backup. Master is not interrupted during the backup process, and the performance is not going to impact it. What you have to do, if you are taking the slab backup through the slab backup technique, then you have to stop the slab. So you need to shut down the MySQL process. How you can do it? Either you can stop the slab SQL trade statement, or you can able to kill the process, and then you can able to do it. After that, once it is a stop, you have to flush the table. So stop the server, then flush the table, and then from primary. So that means whatever the data has written, that will be goes to the my slash the log there. Then back up the slabs database. So stop the server, and then you can take the backup. So make the backup on slab database. So simple way, whatever the method you want, depend on the server. You can choose either the hot copy or maybe the cp command, whatever the way you can. And once the backup is done, you can restart the server, and then you can able to use it that way. Now let me talk about these all tool together to understand which case what will be the better. So here I'm just comparing the tools So it will give you the clear idea which backup method you can choose in your environment, depend on your business. MySQL Enterprise Backup, as I told, you can able to do during the hot backup for InnoDB, and for other, it will use the warm backup. But it work with the all engines. Only the drawback is that it's a commercially available. That means you need to pay the license fee. What type of backup it will take? It physical consistency, yes, it will maintain. MySQL hot copy, it is a warm backup. For which engine it is used? For MySM engine. That means in InnoDB or other engine you are using. So MySM and archive, the hot copy is working. Rest all it won't. So, but it's freely available. If you want that engines backup, you can take it. MySQL dump is the good option because it will take the hot for InnoDB and the warm for others, similar like the enterprise backup. So it will. Good part is that it will work with the all engines. It's a physical backup, yes. Consistency, yes. Freely available, and that's why I said most of the case I have seen in my life, people are using the MySQL dump. Got it? Snapshot backup, it's like a just image you are capturing. It could not be a backup solution, so that's why it taking the hot backup during the runtime. All engine is supported. It's a physical backup, but need a snapshot volume or the file system, and that basically generally people are using in Linux environment. Replication, again, it is a cost effective. It is a freely you can available with the open source technology, community edition also it will work. But hot backup, all engine it will support. Logical and physical you can take. Consistency, yes it is, and freely available. Then another one is called SQL statement, which is like a warm backup. And what type of backup it is? So it is a logical backup because it is generating your statement and then you are performing. Consistency, no, because during that the data is not in the read and write, but after that, whatever the changes, that is not taking into my backup. That's why it's not called consistent. OS copy command, yes, it's consistent. Whenever you are taking the cold or warm backup, like shutting down your server, and then your physical file you are copying with the CP command or SCP command, whichever you are using. So from there, you are taking the backup. But these all are freely available except the enterprise edition. Now you are the best judge for your environment, your application. You know better than me about your application, about your business. So you can choose the tools as per your choice. Got it? So here I have just given you the one scenario. If your database size is not much big or you have a downtime, just example. So always I will go with the MySQL dump. Got it? Sorry, the cold backup. But suppose I don't have the downtime. Got it? And my database size is also less, like maybe 100 GB or less than that. In this case, I can go with the MySQL dump. If I have a larger that, instead of dump, I will use the MySQL pump. But version should be 8 onwards. If engine is specific, so InnoDB or MySM, different you can do like the replication, snapshot, or my enterprise backup. But MySM case, you can use the hot copy. So these are the scenario. Just I have made a strategy what I follow. But you can choose as per your convenience, what backup tool you want, how you want to perform, and accordingly you can able to do the backup. So these all will be performed as per your business need, and you can do it. Will log, just you can process the binary log and then you can edit it. Question for all of you. Just here we have talked the bill log. So process the binary log content like we can. So for that we have a tool to convert the content MySQL bill log. So determine which log where written after the backup was made, that we can convert to the readable content like this. So the answer should be MySQL bill log. That's it for this module. Hope you all understood the concept. Any doubt, any questions, feel free to ask. So we will perform the backup and then we can see the different backup like here, MySQL Enterprise, dump, and then we can. Any doubt, any questions, then feel free to ask me. Did you understood the concept?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Rajiv. Here I
Any-
have one doubt.
Yeah, please
One
feel free to ask.
is MySQL hot copy, that slide, no, you told us that this could be possible only while you are running the server, and this could be possible only through MySAM and active engines, right?
Correct. See, hot backup when we are talking. So that means database should be operational. Got it?
Yeah.
That's why it's called the hot backup.
Yeah.
What other backup tool you have a question?
No. InnoDB, one slide you have taught, that I'll ask you later.
No, just give me 1 minute. I will go back to my slide. Is my slide visible to you?
Yes.
Yes. Please feel
After
free to ask.
MySQL hard copy, the next slide. More front.
Yes, hot copy.
Before this. Next, before InnoDB. You have related this with back.
This one?
No, previous. Previous or previous. Hot back.
Hot backup,
Hard
that was the
copy.
hot backup, no?
No,
This is the hot copy.
MySQL hard copy. Yeah, before that. Oh, no. I found one InnoDB, that and this you spoke. So
Which one? The InnoDB, what? The tool name you can tell me.
that InnoDB backup you said actually.
Let me go with the. I started with the here. Okay.
Correct.
Backup and recovery. We talk objective, backup basic. We talk about the backup with the MySQL, and then the logical and textual backup we talk.
Yes.
Then we talk about the physical
Yes. This
backup.
understood. Yeah. Next.
Here we talk about snapshot based backup. Then we talk
Snapshots.
about replication based backup. Then we talk about the binary log backup. Then we talk about the various tools, the third-party tools like enterprise backup or LVM and other things. Those.
MySQL enterprise backup.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where is your confusion?
Yeah, this next slide. Okay,
It's for
restoring backup.
restoring. It's a restoring.
Okay. Okay, but Rajiv, like I had little confusion that I could not. Okay.
Okay. So in this case, if you have a confusion, go for the
Yeah.
recording, watch it carefully, and then you can come back with your question.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, Rajiv.
That will give you the idea about the things.
Yeah, thank you.
Shubham, do you have any questions? Any doubt?
No, sir.
Good. Then thank you. I will go for the demo of this. Okay. So can we go?